Hi BookTube, it's Stephanie. So today I decided that I wanted to share with you all the books that I have out from the library. I haven't filmed one of these books for a while and I don't really know why, it doesn't really matter. So I will start with the books that I'm currently reading, which is two, and the first one is Nice Dragons Finish Last by Rachel Aaron, which is the first book in the Heartstriker series. I think that was what it was called. But we are following a person who's normally a dragon, but one day his mother Bethesda throws him out because she finds him a failure and gives him 1 month to prove that he's the real dragon. But she sends him to a city that when the asteroid hit and reawakened magic, spirit or goddess took over the city of Detroit, that area, and now it's called as the DFC, yeah, or DFZ, I don't really know. And she hates dragons, and there is a bounty, a very high bounty for each dragon found and taken in front of her so that she can kill them. And yeah, he is a dragon, has been locked in a human form and can't really access his magic. Now, this is a body read. I did start this like 2 years ago, and then I wasn't really in the mood for it. I read like 1 page, put it down, 2 pages, put it down, and then someone else wanted it at the library, so I returned it, and then I didn't borrow it again. But how to put this in a good way? This is a paranormal fantasy that's set in our world after, as I said, an asteroid has hit the Earth and reawakened magic, including old souls, dragons, all of that. However, we are immediately thrown into a place in which a spirit resides and rules. So we have different rules for that. So we are immediately thrown into a world in which we need both descriptions of what has happened all over the world, and the specific ones that has to do with this region, because this is the only region who has a spirit ruler. And it feels like at the moment, like, I like the descriptions of the world, I do really like them, but we don't really care for any of the characters. Like, why should we care? But yeah, we'll see. It's a body read, and yeah. Then we have one that I just got because I could not believe that my library had a light novel, and that is Reincarnated as a Sword, written by Yu Tanaka and illustrated by Lo. And yeah, it's exactly what it sounds like. A person who doesn't really remember his real name wakes up, finds out that he's a sword, remembers his life, don't remember his name, don't know why he is there, and yeah, he starts playing with the powers that he has and things like that. It's very much third, fourth wall break-in, because he's like, oh, is this like a light novel? It's pretty funny. I don't really know how to explain it. I'm reading it as a light novel should be, like, you don't take it too seriously. But I can definitely say that one thing that I have noted that I can imagine people being upset about is that he would like a pretty girl to be his owner. And I'm like, I can see people being upset about that. At the same time, someone being pretty is very subjective, so I don't care. I've been reading way too many people complaining about things like that as if they wouldn't do the same thing themselves, but that's a different rant. But I'm liking it, and my library has the other three sequels, so I'm like, if I like it, I would probably continue, but this was one of those series that I saw that was like, it sounds too ridiculous, I will not buy it myself, but I can get it from a library, so why not? Oh, and for me, light novels are kind of like a mixture between, it is for adults because it's a little bit more description when it comes to gore and stuff, but it's written in a way that's low YA, so it likes really roll on. I enjoy them, they're easy, I find them fun. Then the next pile is 4 books that I have talked about here since before. First we have Shadow of the Conqueror by Shaden Brooks, who has a YouTube channel, and this is following a person who got the additive The Scrooge, but he's retired, living his own life. However, something happens or something is on the foot, so he needs to participate and be active again, but he's hiding his own identity. So he's, from what I understand from the back, he is actually meeting some of his old friends, but they all think he's dead, and he's hiding things. Yes, I still want to read this. The next one I have here is Written and Read by Anne Bishop, in which we're following a girl who is a blood prophet, so every time her skin is cut, she gets a vision, and she flees from the person who owns her, or I don't really think, or the government or things like that, or maybe a combination. And she applies for a job for the others who are shapeshifters, to be their human liaison, to be the human person who talks to the governments and the other humans. But the leader of these people finds her kind of suspicious because she doesn't really smell like a human. And then people probably finds out that she's with them. Don't know. I did say the first time I had this that I thought it was a paranormal romance, and according to my body read friend who has read it, at least in this book, there's not really that much more romance, which I approve of. Not everything has to have romance in it, says the aromantic person. Okay. Next we have one that, again, I've shown it, and that is Fire Logic by Laurie J. Marks, in which we're following a group of people who is living in a world in which the city or the country has been occupied by another group of people for 15 years, and there's famine and disease and things like that, and maybe they can change the history. We don't get anything else from this synopsis. There might be more on Goodreads, but I'm not going to look at that, and I still want to read this book. And the last one is Cold Magic by Kate Elliott, which we are following 2 friends, Kat and Bee, and they go to college, things like that. This is set in a world in which there's magic, and this is set in the Industrial Revolution, when that has begun, and they are part of magical families. They don't know that they are, and the cold mages are after Kat, and it's like they're after her, they don't know. I really like the 2 taglines that are on here. When science and magic collide, it is the innocent who will die. And then on the back it says, the history of the world begins in ice and it will end in ice. I like those taglines, so I do really want to get to this one as well. So I have 6 books left. Yes, I have a lot of books out from the library. Is anyone surprised? First I have 2 Agatha Christie. I've got, both of these are translated to Swedish, so we have Badorts Mysteriet, which is Peril at End House, and Mord på ljusa dagen, which is, come on, which is Evil Under the Sun. And yes, I did pick these out because of the summary. You might not be able to see it that like yeah, now you can. So I got them because they had kind of like summary covers. Yeah, I'm not a summer person. Now both of these are Poirot novels, and I probably have watched the TV show that these books are based on, because that's how life is. I was really conscious about reading the Miss Marple series in order, but I have not done that at all with the Poirot books, because the next book I need to read is never in. And it doesn't help that I kind of mix the Swedish and the English books, so it's like, what book is it? I will try to read these two in order, which means this one first before this one. But yeah, 2 mystery books. We'll see if I get to them, or if I don't. We'll see. Then I got the short story. This is Lydias Oxford by Philip Pullman, and this companion to his Dark Materials. I read that series like once it was translated to Swedish, because my mom got me that first book, and it was 10 out of 10. I loved it. I'm not interested in rereading it, but this was on display and I was like, oh, why not? I can read this. I'm also not interested in the new trilogy, and definitely not when people have said that they're disappointed in it. But yeah, this is a short story, so I was like, why not? I might read it, I might not. We'll see. But yeah. Then we have The Diviners by Lydias Oxford. One of the books that I need to read for the Goodreads Choice Award Challenge 2012. This looks way bigger than it is. It's actually under 600 pages. It's still a big book with lots of pages, but yeah. And in this one we are following a girl who gets sent to her uncle, and her uncle is really interested, obsessed with the occult, and she needs to hide from him the fact that she has some supernatural ability. But then some murders starts happening, and she starts to try to solve them. I don't really know. What I mostly hear about this one is that it takes place in the 20s, it is, and that it's kind of creepy. Some people say borderline horror-y. Don't really know, but yeah. Next we have the first book in the Hidden Legacy novel, and that's Burn for Me by Alona Andrews. And in this we're following a female detective who gets tasked with a suicide mission to capture this prime mage who can set everything on fire, but she gets kidnapped by a billionaire. Yeah. This is definitely a romance. So we'll see. But yeah. Like, description of that book just kind of makes me go, yeah, this is romance. And the last book I have here is a Swedish fantasy, and that is Drakfödd, Legenden om den eviga isens land by Annie Eriksson. And the title for this first book would translate to Dragonborn, and the series would translate to The Legend of the Land of the Eternal Ice. Something like that. And in this one we are following, this is set in a world in which for 100 years ago 2 members of a certain order betrayed the order, and the rule that had lasted for millennia crumbled, and now darkness and cold is spreading from what was the city's name? Egoroth, which according to the map I read is the capital. If it's still the capital or the old capital, I don't know, but the cold and darkness is spreading from there, and the people are suffering, and we are following 2 friends who meets up and things starts to happen. It's a debut novel. We'll see. And yes, I did pick it up because it has a dragon on the cover, and this is Dragon-a-thon month. I might read this month, I might not, but yeah, that was why I picked it up. So those are all the 12 books that I have from the library. I know, I'm shocked, it's not that many. Part of it was because I returned a bunch of books and I didn't want to wait an hour before the library opened. But yes. Is there any of these books that you want me to get to as soon as possible? Please tell me down below, and I'll see you next time. Bye!